I get to introduce the Sean Flanders Volunteer of the Year Award. And, you know, before I get to the actual person who gets the award, I'm going to say a couple of things about Sean, who's off here to the right. We got to know Sean a little over 10 years ago. He is a member at Echo Valley Country Club, and he volunteered in 2013 for the Herman Sani tournament, which was the first year Echo Valley ever hosted it. And then a couple of years, or within a year or so after that, Sean came to some local rules of golf seminars we had. We did a volunteer training seminar, and Sean showed up for that. And pretty soon, you know, he was off and running as a volunteer for the IGA. He went to rural schools and got trained. And when we handed him his second Volunteer of the Year award, we started talking about, you know, he's just going to get it every year because he comes to everything. He was like a pseudo staff member. And that's when we decided to just name the award after him. That way we could give some other people some credit. So let's give Sean a round of applause, because he continues to just show up and do a wonderful job for us with getting paid way less than interns would ever get paid. So Sean, thank you. With that, I get to introduce our 2024 Sean Flanders Volunteer of the Year Award winner. It's a gentleman that many of you probably know as players. Perhaps you've even interacted with him from time to time, although if you did, I'm sure that interaction was brief and quick. Greg Lederer, who's from Cedar Rapids, is our Volunteer of the Year award winner, and he is a rules official for us at IGA Championships. We got to know Greg in the late 2010s when Cedar Rapids Country Club was gearing up to host the USGA Senior Women's Amateur, and Greg was the co-chair of the volunteers. His job was to recruit members of CRCC, but also people who maybe weren't members of CRCC to come out and volunteer for all the various committees to make that USGA Championship a wonderful experience for the players, and he did a great job at that. But around that same time, he started showing up to our Rules of Golf seminars that we did. He'd kind of sit in the back, he'd ask wonderful questions, and you could just tell that he absorbed the information like a sponge. He was someone we identified pretty quickly as, hey, we need to keep this guy's attention and maybe get him in the fold and get him out to some IGA championships. Very quickly after that, I found out Greg was an attorney. And that makes sense because when it comes to studying the law and studying the rules of golf, there's a lot of similarities because the words and their meanings matter greatly when it comes to figuring out what everything means. And it makes sense that somebody from that law background would understand that and sort of get that a lot quicker than other people might, and that's what Greg did. But just knowing the rules of golf is, you know, sort of half of the job. The other half is you always have this pesky little thing of having to deal with players from time to time. And when you are a rules official and you have to deal with players, you need to understand and realize that when you come into those situations, you're dealing with someone, man or woman, who's in a very highly competitive frame of mind, and you need to make sure you're the one who keeps that level head when you're probably giving them some information that maybe they don't want to hear, or telling them that they get penalty strokes when they don't want to hear that. And Greg has proven to be adept at that. He's terrific. He's mastered the rules knowledge side, but also the dealing with the player side, and it's a balance that not many people get. He's terrific at it. By my count, this past year, Greg helped at 10 different IGA championships and qualifiers that accounted for 19 total days of service. If you think about that in the terms of a work week, that's basically a month of work that he gave to the IGA this year. And these are not short days, and most of the time, Greg's traveling and staying in hotels for that. So, look, we're lucky to have all of our volunteers. We cannot run the events and the schedule that we run without them. But this year, Greg kind of stood above and beyond. So with that, Greg, thank you so much for your time and dedication to the IGA, to our championships, to our players. It is my pleasure to be able to have Sean award you with his award of being the Volunteer of the Year.
I think you had them until you told them I was a lawyer. Now I got to decide whether to be serious or to be funny. Since I've got lawyer jokes that you'd love to hear. But I won't do that. A career in service is a noble undertaking. But to engage in service on a volunteer basis is an opportunity to pay tribute to something that matters to you, something that's worth promoting, worth preserving, and worth advancing. I get far more out of the opportunity to work with the IGA staff, which is what a collection of great people, hardworking, committed to their job. And I get to be around quality people engaged in a competitive environment. And I love the opportunity to participate in that and to contribute to it. And because I am one of the worst golfers in this room, it's the only way I can participate with you, is serving as a rules official. I want to thank Sean for showing me how to do the job. I want to thank Chad and his wonderful staff for giving me the opportunity to participate. I just enjoy it every single time I'm there. Thank you very much.